Hi, Jane Garapick here. I remember it like it was just yesterday. The conversation my single girlfriends and I would have over and over and over again. Whether we had just gone out on a first or second date or we'd been in a slow-moving relationship with the typical non-committal guys we were always in denial about, the conversation always inevitably came around to, why hasn't he called? It was always spoken with that combination of sadness and desperation, with a little trace of hope salted in. We could have had a ringtone on our phones for it. It was the tribal rallying cry, calling all of us together in support of the one whose turn it was to live it. And then the conversation would begin with us rehashing every single detail of what we had said and done, and what he had said and done. Every possible piece of the conversation, body, language, tone, nuance, and action was meticulously scrutinized as we tried to piece together the answer to that question that was eluding us once again. Why hasn't he called? And of course, as supportive girlfriends, we would all offer our best take on the situation, usually filled with lots of hope, but with a little dose of realism thrown in, trying to make sense of a situation that doesn't have much sense to it to begin with. Until eventually we would run out of possibilities and resign ourselves to either waiting it out some more or relieving our anxiety by just calling him ourselves. Well, after asking the same question myself more times than I would like to even admit and hearing it from my girlfriends about the same number of times, I know the answer that we all really knew even back then. That the real reason he hasn't called is because this guy is just not that interested. At least not right now. I know, that's really hard to hear, but would it make it easier to hear it if you knew how much the realization could save you so much heartbreak? Would it help to know that by realizing the truth now, before you put so much of your body, heart, and soul into this relationship, you could save yourself from so much more pain down the road? Because here's the thing, if he's interested in you, nothing will be able to keep him from contacting you. Guys aren't like that. When they're interested, they keep trying until you clearly let them know you're not interested. And even then, they sometimes don't get it and they keep trying. Now, I know there are some really, really shy guys out there who you might be thinking are the exception. But if you're putting out subtle hints to this guy that you're interested in, that you really are interested in him, he's going to get the hint and he's going to respond by calling you. And even if he's on the shy side, and even with a guy who's a player, well, there's no stopping him. In the beginning, he's calling you a lot. But if it seems that the calls start to be growing further apart, be forewarned. That's a fairly common characteristic with the type of guy who's broken more than his share of hearts. Ask just about all of my clients, not to mention all my single friends. Guys are not just wired to sit back and wait for you to call them. They're into pursuing and calling or texting, messaging, whatever it is. They're into reaching out and contacting you because a genuinely interested guy wants to get to know you. He wants to spend time with you. He wants to find out who is this beautiful woman known as you. He wants to find out if the two of you might be compatible, and he wants to find out if you're interested, if he's interested. The other possibility is that he might be interested in you, but he might not be interested in a relationship. And that means he might not call right away either. So don't take it too personally. It's not about you as much as it's about him being in a relationship in general. Because let's face it, some guys aren't sure what they want. Some guys are a little confused. Some guys are a little or a lot scared. And some guys simply aren't mature enough to know what they're doing. And if you're giving off the vibe that you're interested in a relationship and he isn't, then chances are pretty good that he won't call or he'll delay calling for a while. But that's actually a really good thing because hear me out. Then you know what you're dealing with. Do you get that? You're being saved from more heartbreak down the road. Trust me on this one. There is nothing worse than being led on with your full heart into a guy only to find out later that you're both on opposite sides of the page when it comes to commitment. That's the stuff sad songs are made of. So don't despair if your phone isn't ringing, if you're not getting messages. Take it as a sign. If you're not convinced, by all means, come right out and talk to him or call him if that will make you feel better. Whether or not he answers is another thing, but to know he might not be able to come right out and be direct himself, but at least He'll know for sure where you stand. And if he's not the right one, well, consider yourself lucky to be finding out early on. Now I'll turn it over to you. Have you had this happen to you? I know, it's happened to most of us. So go ahead and share your stories, questions, and your struggles with us in the comments below the video. Find out you're not alone here, because you're not. And if you know of anyone that could benefit from hearing these words, please forward it on to them. Also, remember to click the thumbs up button if this video resonated with you, and make sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you'll find out when I've got a new one coming. I'm making one new video a week, usually on Sundays, and if you subscribe, you'll be the first to know. I'll see you soon.